Good morning and welcome back to Football League World TV. It's Friday morning. It's time for the EFL betting show here on the channel. My name is Sam Rourke, the Chief Editor of footballleagueworld.co.uk, and I'm joined by two of my colleagues, Ned Holmes and Ben Wignall, to run through the best bets in the EFL this weekend. Ned, how are you getting on this morning?
Yeah, all good, thanks, Sam. I think we were just saying sort of before we got on air that it's becoming harder and harder. Really, this show seems to be more and more unpredictable every week, and those teams that you sort of had down as your list each week to look for bankers and the like just seem to be crumbling. So yeah, looking forward to sort of getting stuck in and seeing if we can predict any winners this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben, how are you getting on?
Yeah, all good, Sam. I think I'd echo all Ned's sentiments there, what we were talking about just before we came on air, but looking to build some nice winnings up before the real excitement, which is the Cheltenham Festival in less than 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, going up very quickly, that is. If you've not watched this show before here on the channel, we run through 4 different selections. We select a banker, an accumulator, a value bet, and a wild card. Just a reminder for all those watching, please do gamble responsibly, 18 and over. We are broadcasting live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So get yourself in the comments. What do you think of Ned and Ben's bets this morning? Have you got any bets on this weekend in the EFL? We'd love to hear from you. Let's get straight into it. Okay, as we always do, we start off with the banker of the weekend in the English Football League. Ned, what is your banker?
I've gone for Sheffield Wednesday to win at Lincoln City at 23-20, £5 returns, 10.75 on Bet365. I mean, the Owls are flying right now. Barry Bannon seems to have found the form. I think a lot of us were expecting he would in League One. 4 goals, 4 assists since the start of February, and really pulling the strings in that midfield. And 3 goals in 30 minutes helped them sort of claim a win against Burton, and they become a real force in recent weeks. And I think they're going to have just too much for a Lincoln team that is sort of beginning to drift toward the end of the season, obviously above that relegation battle, but below the playoff race. Not much to play for them, and a huge amount to play for Wednesday. They've sort of reaped the benefits of a bit of patience with Darren Moore when he came into a lot of criticism earlier in the season amidst multiple injury crises. You'd probably say. I just think they're going to make it 8 wins in 9 on Saturday, and at 23-20, I think that's a great value.
Yeah, I suppose if you're going off the form, Sheffield Wednesday certainly have the favourable form going into this game. Lincoln winning only once in their last 6 games. Michael Appleton's side only 4 points above the drop zone in League One, so it's still quite a perilous situation for Lincoln City in the 3rd tier. There we go. Ned opting for Sheffield Wednesday to beat Lincoln City as his banker this weekend. Ben, what is your banker this weekend?
It's very difficult to pick one this week. There's a lot of games that look very close when you weigh them up. But I've gone for Portsmouth at home to Accrington. I do try to find an evens kind of shot instead of a 1-2 or whatnot. And they are evens with Coral Portsmouth. I think Accrington, they're not the same team away from home as they are at the Wham Stadium. They last won away at Lincoln back at the end of November, and since then it's been mainly defeats. But Portsmouth kind of hit like a bit of a good spot of form at the minute. They're missing Ronan Curtis this weekend, but they're unbeaten in 5, and they've won 4 of those, and they do have a kind of a lot of strength in depth going forward. I think Marcus Horners could, easily replace him. He's been playing at wing back recently, so I think Danny Cowley should be able to replace the Ireland international easily. They were 3-0 down against Fleetwood last week, which is kind of worrying when you're picking them as a banker and going 3-0 down against a struggling team at home. But I think they did very well to fire back to draw 3-3 in that game, and the other 4 games around that they've won. So I think they're firing a bit at the minute, and I'd be shocked if they don't at least score a few, and they should be able to keep Aki down to either a clean sheet or just 1 goal. So I'm going for a Portsmouth win as my banker of the week.
Yeah, obviously Pompey winning 3-2 last time out against Oxford United. A really impressive win for them at home at Fratton Park. You're a brave man betting against Aki, Ben. I've got to say, they're one team I do not like betting against. They've always seemed to let me down over the last few years. But there we go. Ben opting for Pompey to beat Accrington as his banker. this weekend. Right, let's touch on the accumulators next. Okay, Ned, we'll start with you. What's your Aki for this weekend?
I've gone for a threefold at 5.77 to 1, so a fiver returns, £5.54 on Bet365. Sheffield Wednesday to beat Lincoln, my banker, the first one. Then I've got Huddersfield to beat Posh this evening. I mean, I know it's a bit risky with an ACCA going for a sort of Friday night game, never bet on the early kickoff and all that. But I just think it's hard to underplay just how poor Peterborough were against Hull. And I'm not saying there won't be a bounce at some point under McCann, but I'm not sure we're going to see it against the Terriers who just continue to impress and sort of put teams away. And I think that's going to be enough for them to claim, I feel, a fairly comprehensive victory against Peterborough this evening. And then I've got Portsmouth to beat Accrington as well. I mean, John Simpson's side, obviously a difficult side to beat at home, but they've lost 4 of their last 5 away. And as Ben says, not one on the road since November. So I think Portsmouth are going to have too much for them. So that's Wednesday at Huddersfield and Portsmouth at 5.77 to 1.
I like that treble a lot, actually. I do like that. Let us know in the comments what you make of Ned's treble for this weekend. Just a reminder, get yourself in the comments. Have you got any bets on this weekend? Who do you fancy to secure 3 points this weekend? Let us know. Ben, what is your accumulator this weekend?
Well, I've gone for a fourfold this week, which is 18.14 to 1 with William Hill. I've gone with Portsmouth as my first team, obviously as my banker. I've gone with a team from each league, and for the rest of it, I've gone with Swansea in the Championship at home against Coventry. And I think Coventry have only lost 1 in the last 6, so this could be a slightly risky pick. But I'm not too convinced with the results that Coventry have been getting or the performances. I watched them against PNE last weekend, and they didn't really show me enough to convince me that they're going to go to Swansea and get a win. And of course, Swansea will be riding high off the win away at West Bromwich Albion on Monday night 2-0. So I think they'll have momentum going into this one. So they're on my accumulator. In League One, I've got Wigan to beat Wimbledon. Sorry, Chris Thorpe, if you're watching this. I struggle to see a way out of the kind of struggles they're having at the minute. They've drawn the last 2 games against relegation rivals, but I just think Wigan are a different animal compared to the teams they've been facing. They faced Bolton a few weeks ago. Wimbledon got beat 4-0. I could probably see a similar kind of performance and scoreline coming because Wigan are a very strong team right now going forward. And I've also gone with, this could be a very silly one. It's a kind of a relegation 6-pointer in League Two, but I've gone with Oldham to beat Carlisle. John Sheridan, since his return, the Resurrection, alive and kicking. They've won 3 and drew 4 in the 7 games he's been in charge for. But to be fair, Carlisle have won both games since Paul Simpson's return, so it's kind of a match between 2 returning managers who's got the feel-good factor back for the clubs. But I just think Oldham at home right now, you've got the fans back on side, and the atmosphere is probably dragging them through a few of the games. So I think that Oldham might take this one in a narrow win. It was quite hard to pick an accumulator this week because there's lots of close games, but I think those 4 are my best hopes, and it does pay 18.14 to 1 with William Hill.
There we go. Nice. Bit of a gamble, I suppose, then with that Oldham bet in that fourfold, but some good odds there for that fourfold. Again, let us know in the comments what you make of Ben's fourfold accumulator this weekend. Right, let's touch on the value bets next. Okay, Ned, have you found any value this weekend?
Yeah, I've gone Luton to beat Middlesbrough at 16-5. That's £5 returning £21, and on Bet365 there's actually an extended value which is I think over 4 to 1 for this one. I mean, there's no denying Borough a good side, but I think the bookie's judgment here is shrouded by that win against Tottenham and the good feeling surrounding Chris Wilder's team. I think few teams are harder to play in the Championship when they're on song than Luton Town, and they've been obviously gathering steam in recent weeks, and I guess climbing up the table fairly quietly, given that there's not really the same sort of noise as there is around the likes of Middlesbrough, Sheffield United, and Nottingham Forest and co. But I think continually underestimated Luton and a team that can really scrap it out, but also have got a bit of quality, and they're 2 places and 2 points above Chris Wilder's side. They're the team in better form, and yet they're priced at more than 3-1 at the Riverside. I think that's outrageous. And yeah, I mean, obviously Borough have been a good home side recently, but I wouldn't say they've been hugely convincing in a lot of those wins. They left it late against a pretty dismal West Brom side, and equal class a few sides before that. And I think they're going to be in a real battle against Luton Town. You've only got to ask the European and World Championship champions Chelsea how hard it is to beat Luton. They gave them a real scare at Kenilworth Road on Wednesday evening, and I think they're going to be right up for this game to sort of, I think there's a real team sort of squad spirit there, and Nathan Jones is I think going to play into it exactly what we're going to hopefully make the most of, which is teams are underestimating Luton when they come up against big teams like Middlesbrough. So for me, them to beat Middlesbrough at 16-5 is value that's really too hard to turn down.
Yeah, I think that is a cracking bit of value there, actually. Luton in really good form at the moment, 6th in the league. Borough obviously reeling after that 3-2 defeat last time out in the Championship against Barnsley, so they'll be wanting to hit back. But there we go, Ned opting for Luton as his value bet this weekend as they travel to the Riverside to face off against Middlesbrough. Ben, what is your value bet this weekend?
Well, I never thought I'd be going against Forest Green a few weeks ago after the run they went on, but I'm going with Salford to beat Forest Green at home. They are 23-10 with Paddy Power. Forest Green haven't won in the last 4, and they've lost 2 of those away at Crawley and at home to Walsall. So, they're not the impenetrable force that they once were. They might have seen the finishing line kind of and got a few nerves. So I think with Salford as well, they've won 3 of the last 4, and they've made some quite decent January signings. Matt Smith, Ryan Watson have both hit the ground running. So I think at home, the form they're in, gunning for the playoffs, I just think that Salford might be up for this one. And Forest Green, obviously we know how good they are on the day. They might not fancy it as much as they have done like they have in recent weeks. So I just think 23-10 is a pretty big price for a team that's in form against a team, even though we know how good they can be, that aren't in form. So yeah, I thought it was a pretty interesting price for Salford.
Yeah, like you say, a few weeks ago, you'd have been a very brave man to bet against Forest Green Rovers, but they have seen a little bit of a decline in form of late. So fair play there, Ben. Salford is Ben's value bet this weekend to beat Forest Green Rovers. Right, we've got one more selection next, the wild card. Okay, Ned, what is your wild card bet this weekend?
I've got Andy Weimann to score 2 or more goals against Birmingham City at 10-1. The Blues have got one of the worst defences in the division. It's defensive records rather. It's better than Bristol City's, but it's still one of the worst. They haven't kept a clean sheet since November either, and I think they're going to come up against the City side sort of determined to give something back to their fans after a really dismal performance against Nottingham Forest. Nigel Pearson's certainly going to be demanding a response. And back at Ashton Gate, I do think they could sort of find their groove against a Birmingham defence that we've seen as, can be picked apart. Weimann, 16 goals, 8 assists this season. He's absolutely flying, and he's scored a brace 5 times already. And I think that, I think if City get an early goal, they could really sort of catch fire here. And I just fancy him to bag a brace. If you don't fancy Andy Weimann, Antoine Semenyo is 16-1 to get a brace of his own, so that's not a bad shout either. But I just think I think there could be some goals in that game.
Yeah, like you say, Weimann does love a brace. Like you say, 5 already this season. It's a fantastic return from the striker at Bristol City. Ben, what is your wild card this weekend?
I've got nothing too extravagant this week, but I've gone Hull to beat West Brom by any score to 0. Is 9-2. If you think West Brom's poor form is going to continue, and they've only scored 1 in the last 5, only got 1 point out of the last 15, then I think this might be worth a few quid. Hull haven't exactly been firing on the shots rather ladsy, but they did score 3 against Peterborough, so they still know where the back of the net is, and the likes of Keane, Lewis Potter, Marcus Forster could pose West Brom a few problems, and we know that he's come into a lot of problems in the last few weeks against opposition. So if you think West Brom aren't going to score and you think they're going to lose 9-2. I think it's a good price. Alternatively, if you want to go for something very extravagant and you think Fulham might beat Blackburn 7-0 again, like they did earlier in the season, then that's 200 to 1 if you fancy a quid or two. Although -3 Fulham to start basically with a 3-goal handicap's 9 to 1. But I unfortunately can't see Blackburn caving in that much like they did earlier in the season.
No, that would be some bet if that came in, I've got to say. There we go. Ben and Ned have given us their wildcard bets for this weekend. If you agree with them or disagree with them, let us know in the comments. Right, well, that concludes this morning's episode of the EFL betting show here on Football League World TV. We've got one more show coming up for you later today at 3 o'clock, the EFL weekend preview show. Alfie Birds will be steering the ship for that particular show, so make sure to tune in. If you are watching this on repeat on YouTube, please do stick a like in below this video and subscribe if you are new around here. It really does help us grow as a channel. We are edging closer to 1,000 subscribers on Football League World TV on YouTube. So all your support really does help us as we continue to grow. But Ned, Ben, thanks for joining me this morning, and thanks everyone for tuning in and watching. We shall see you all soon.